Welcome to the Southern Vermont Arts Center, SVAC, in Manchester, Vermont. This is Gallery 3, and this is the home of an exhibit called Timepieces. My name's Matthew Peake. I'm the creator of this body of work, and I'm asking you to join me in this video, short video, to learn about the backstory of how this body of work came to be. I'm a painter. I've been doing this for about 15 years. And as a painter, we have a task. It's to take a two-dimensional surface and using light and shadow to create the impression of three dimensions, the illusion of three dimensions. And over the years that I've been doing this, it's occurred to me that I'm more interested now in doing more abstract work and creating light and shadow using small pieces put together in certain patterns. And what I had at my disposal were a couple of things. I had toilet paper rolls and I had corks. We were in the pandemic. People were hoarding toilet paper and people were drinking a lot of wine. So I had plenty of these objects to use. And my first question was, how do I arrange them? I prepared surfaces that were 3 feet by 2 feet or 18 by 24. And I wanted to know how to put these objects on that surface. So, not knowing exactly how to do that, luckily I'm a daydreamer, and during one daydream, I happened to cast my vision on a wooden door with a lot of wood grain. And there it was, patterns that were light and dark in repetitive ways that I could use to abstract and create patterns to place these materials. And so I did that. And I got these two pieces, and I thought then, second question, what do I do to light them? And the first answer that came to me was use gallery lighting. Use the lighting that the galleries would use, one source directed on the object, creating shadows. And that was my first answer. But I waited, and my second answer came to me a number of weeks later when I walked into a bedroom, and there were two sources of light. One, a reflected tree, green light coming through a window, and one I had a sheet on it that was red. And I noticed that two colors of shadows were cast, green and red. So the green source of light from the window cast a red shadow and vice versa for the red sheet. So I decided I would use colored lights and cast colored shadows. So that was great. The question then became, what color should I use? And of course, there are 6 colors in the color wheel. But the answer didn't come to me right away. It came to me later on when I was listening to a podcast. And they were talking about the human retina and how the human retina has 3 receptors for color: blue, green, and red. Other animals only have blue and green. We're lucky that we can see into the red range. Birds can do that too. So I was going to use 3 colors, those 3. It also occurred to me in the old TV sets that the 3 knobs to adjust the color on the TV were red, blue, and green. So it all made sense. Now, how was I going to use these colors? My first answer was that I would create a single light source, make a disc of those colors, and have this disc rotate in front of the light source, and therefore change the 3 colors sequentially like that. But a better answer occurred to me later on when I said, no, I will sequence them like the natural light of the world is. So we have sunrise with the red colors, midday, and the sunset. And that's also red. So we have the 2 reds. But from physics, I knew that the white light from the sun was scattered, so the blue and the violet became the dome of sky, and it was the warm colors getting through that made up the colors that we're used to seeing as the source of the light. The sun is yellow at midday, but with all the blue dome of sky contributing, we really had a green light source. Therefore, I decided I would put a red light, a green light, a blue light, a green light, and a red light, and I would have a sequence of lights happening like that. And then it occurred to me I would need a night light, so I kept the blue light in the center going all the time. Now this was great in theory. I had this all planned out in my mind, this is how it would work, but I hadn't done it, I hadn't operationalized it, and I didn't know how that was going to happen. I happened to be talking to a friend one day and explained to him this art project, and he says, geez, I've done a lot of engineering, I can build this apparatus for you. His name was Jackson Patterson. And he introduced me to someone that I turned out knowing, named Colin Brooks, who could do the programming of it. And he used an Arduino and set it up so he could sequence it according to certain times and make it look like the passage of a day. So we had sunrise, midday, sunset, night sky, and we could do this sequentially like that over a minute. So I had a prototype, I had an idea, and I set to work. I bought other materials that were paper products. I bought cones, portion cups, I bought tampons, and puzzle pieces. And I ended up using those pieces in various combinations, again using the mantra of the wood grain. So I had accomplished something that I thought I had a body of work, but then I became concerned. What had I done? What was this that I had created? It started out as a fun project, but now I needed to show it to people and see what I had accomplished. So I talked to some people about it, explained it to them, and they said, well, you've created a nice science project. And another said, yeah, you've done a good physics demonstration. But this was artistic. I wanted something more. So I had an epiphany one day. It occurred to me, using wood grain and thinking about the trunk of a tree, when a tree is cut down, how the rings of a tree are a biological marker of time passage. And in fact, if you drop a pebble in a pool and watch the ripples expand, it was much like the Big Bang and the expansion of the universe. What I had done in my assembly, unwittingly, was that I had put the pieces down, but they expanded off the sides of the form here. So they weren't contained within the space of the surface, but they expanded off. So in essence, what I thought to myself is I had created a photograph or a still of time with the expansion of the materials on the surface, like the expansion of the universe. Then, using the colored lights in sequence and suggesting sunrise, sunset, night sky, I was suggesting the passing of time, of day after day after day. In effect, I was rendering time. So that became my purpose, or my meaning, that I put into this show, and I called these individual pieces timepieces. Now, this may not be what you see at all when you view these works. And in fact, I've had people come who said, geez, I didn't see the wood grain, but I saw mountains, or I saw waves of ocean. And so it could be anything really to anyone, depending on what your experience has been and what you're seeing in the pieces. But hopefully, just the enjoyment of watching the light change and the colors change and spending time with these pieces is the most important thing. And hopefully you'll get a chance to do that during this exhibit. I do appreciate you watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.